Hi guys, welcome back to the Library of Alexandria, and today guys, Truth and Courage is my long-awaited review. The book's not over here. Where is it? Where's the book? Oh, here it is. Of Boosh! Ruin by John Gwynne. So, I finished this last month. I am behind on my actual reviews, but I'm going to knock some of these out here today. And the first one is Ruin by John Gwynne, book 3 of the Faithful in the Fallen series. And man, this book, guys, this book takes the best elements of malice and combines them with the best elements of valor and puts them together to make one chunkin' good book. Man, this book, there's a reason why this is everyone's, most people's favorite book in the series. I actually have just finished book 4, and I actually like book 4 just a little bit better just because I love good conclusions. But prior to reading book 4, Ruin was my favorite of the 3 that I had read. And so, what Gwynne has done in the Faithful and the Fallen series, really kind of unlike other books in other series, is this is really just one book in 4 parts, because unlike most other series that take place, some period of time after the previous book, these books really just pick up seconds, minutes, maybe hours after the end of the previous one. So you don't really have any time to they never start slow where you have to learn about the things that have happened in the meantime. No, it just picks up. It doesn't waste really any time filling you in on what happened in the previous book. It assumes you read it and assumes you are ready to go. And ready to go I was. I did throw up a little in my mouth when the very first chapter of this book is a Jael POV. Screw you, Jael. Get out of here. Oh my gosh, just the worst. And it should go without saying, sorry I talked about Jael just a second ago, but it should go without saying that if you're watching a review of book 3, you should just assume that it's going to spoil really the events of the first 2 books. So not only do we start with Jael, but we also start really early on watching Nethair's kind of disillusionment with what's going on. Because after the end of Valor, as you are well aware, he can no longer kind of hide, even if he had an inkling of knowing, he can no longer kind of hide from the fact that he is serving Azeroth. That Calidus is the chief Katashim, and he summoned Katashim into the world, and he's not the good guy. Remember, Nethair, he wants so badly to be, be important, and he's got all this ambition, and he wants to unite all the kingdoms and be the High King as the bright star of prophecy that has given him his reason for being for these first 2 books. But he can't really deny that anymore. And so we see his conflict at this new information, and you root for Nethair. You really, like I do. Everyone else hates him, but I root for Nethair because he is that character that could really go either way. Because I don't think he's bad to the core. I think he's just ambitious. And you're hoping that he'll just kind of see through the lies, that he'll turn and do the right thing. But even in the opening scenes, we see Calidus, and this is what I love about what Gwynne has done. Calidus is he's very just deceptive, this very satanic kind of character, because as most Christians are aware, the danger of the devil is not these demonic possessions with the blah 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 kill you. No, it's the little lies that can pass as truths. Much more dangerous in kind of the deception, as you see in the book of Genesis, with the serpent and Eve. He wasn't like, I am evil, eat this and you can rise higher than God. No, it's like, did God really say that? Did he really say you couldn't eat from every tree? Is that what he said, or did you mishear? And so Calidus here, we see that same thing where he passes off these sweet half-truths to Nethair about Azeroth, Azeroth, is he really the villain, or are these just 2 sides? And since Elion won, his side wrote the histories, because history is written by the victor, or are they just 2 equal sides of equal morality? And he just spews this sweet-tongued poison, and Nethair, the struggle as he latches onto it, but Calidus fed him enough. He wanted to latch onto it because he just can't face the fact that, all of this has been for nothing. Nethair's kind of all of the things he's done has to kind of mean something. And so I thought this was a really, really kind of good way to begin the book. And so there's a couple themes in this book that Gwynne really kind of explores, maybe more than the first two books. And so the theme of vengeance runs through this, and sworn oaths. There are a bunch of oaths that have been sworn up to this point and that are sworn again in this point as well. And often they are blood oaths. They are oaths that I'll kill this person, or oaths that I will serve this person. It seems that really, the first two books have really kind of made it to where everyone has kind of their own vengeance list. Everyone has their own hit list. Everyone has a sworn enemy that they have promised themselves that they will bring an end to. And I really like that. I really like blood feuds and sworn enemies. And I love it when authors do this, because that just kind of like raises the personal stakes, you know, not just the stakes at large, but these personal stakes. And because you want to see is who's gonna win this feud. Is the bad guy gonna get away, or is the feud gonna pay off? And you know, I've seen it both ways. Obviously, I love it when the feud, like when, you know, you get the guy that you swore, oh, I'm gonna kill you and I'm gonna get him. I love when that happens. But it can also be really satisfying for, you know, them to turn it on its head and to have the bad guy get away before vengeance can be sworn. But all of this vengeance and all of these oaths are sworn based on what has happened in the first two books. People who have killed people close to these characters. People who have chased them out of their home. And then we have all the oaths that are sworn to the people around them. Even though their allegiances weren't like with these characters to start with, now the proximity, the extreme circumstances that they've all have been through have kind of like united them, and they're swearing oaths to protect these people, or swearing oaths to fight for these people. There is one scene where a bunch of oaths are sworn, and guys, I wept, because I am such a sucker for inspirational speeches. Like, this is why inspirational sports movies, even though I have never been good at sportsing, I love inspirational sports movies, because I love that moment where the inspirational speech is given and everybody just kind of like unites for one purpose.
No, I don't want them to gain another yard.
You blitz all night! And if they cross the line of scrimmage, I'm gonna take every last one of you out. You make sure they remember forever the night they played the Titans.
And for just that moment, all is right with the world. And so I love that. And so there is a moment in here where we have that, and oh, it was so good. What I also really liked about Ruin that I thought was interesting is there are way fewer Corbin and Veritas POVs in this book than in the previous two. Ruin actually... Friggin' wedding ring flies off. What am I wasting away like the Crypt Keeper? Look at this. Look at my bony hands! Well, there it went. Anyway, that was dumb. Like, the side characters in this book really get their chance to shine. Because, yeah, Corbin and Veritas, we kind of know where they're going, but they are both surrounded by these side characters, so we can kind of see a lot of them from the outside. And part of what we see, just through his POVs and the people around him, is we watch Corbin learn how to be a leader. In the first one, in Malice, he's just this kid, kind of annoying to me, who is just, you know, wants to be a kid and gets caught up in events. And in the second one, he just denies the fact that he's the bright star. He's not going to accept it. He doesn't want to deal with it. And now he's kind of accepted his responsibility, but he has to learn to lead these people. And he's got so many friends and allies around him, and it's just really cool, not just to see Corbin's thoughts, but to see Corbin from the perspective of all these other POVs. One thing I especially like with these side characters is Ruin brings in some strong female characters. So in the first two, we have these female characters who were, you know, they were royalty, they were princesses or queens, and, you know, they did what their queenly or princess duty kind of was. It wasn't really, a lot wasn't expected of them, certainly not, you know, facing death at every turn and dealing with these really harsh and extreme circumstances and fleeing for your life and all of that. But now, in this, these female characters are taking a stand, and a lot of them have decided to wrest their life back. A lot has been stolen from them, and they have decided to plant their feet and fight. And I love that just in general about this book, is a lot of the running has stopped. The first book, really the back half of the first book, and all of Valor is just flight, fleeing away from the overwhelming power of the enemy. And in Ruin is when these disparate groups of good guys decide to plant their feet and fight back. And it's often the women who are determined to make that happen. And as they're doing this, it leaves a lot of the men folk confused. A lot of the male characters like, wait, no, what? No, stop. That's not your job. We're warriors. And the women are just like, you're just gonna have to deal with it because this is how it's gonna be. And I love that. And the stuff that we learn through Veritas' point of view and the things on his side of the battle line is we watch the kind of power balance shift away from Nether toward Calidus, because Calidus is no longer trying to fool Nether, because everything that was revealed at the end of Valor. And so, I mean, that's also interesting to watch through those point of views. This book, because the heroes have kind of planted their feet and have decided to take their lives back, there are a lot of victories in this book. And this book, because of this, Ruin feels, for the most part, for most of the book, kind of more hopeful than Malice, because Malice ends, everyone's dead. Valor ends, and it was a victory, but not, I mean, they still had to run at the end. It was just like a minor victory that didn't really feel super hopeful. So there's much more hope in Ruin than in the first two books. There are some incredible scenes in this, incredibly moving scenes. There was one part of the book I literally stood up and cheered and said, yes! I've been waiting for 2 freaking books for someone to do something about this particular situation, and something finally got done, and I was like, yes, yes. Oh man, it was super awesome. And just the last 250 pages of this, just breakneck pace. You can't put it down. It is so epic and so just action-packed. Guys, John Gwynne is, the way he writes action, it's a certain type of action where there's no time to breathe. Everything is, you're right in the middle of it. It's as if a camera, it's like you got your GoPro in the middle of the battlefield, as opposed to the camera looming up here, looking down at it. No, we're right there in the freaking middle. It's very visceral. People dying left and right with a freaking page. And guys, the death count is so high in this book. Guys, John Gwynne will kill a character. He doesn't care. He doesn't care. Oh, you liked that guy? Bleh, dead. Oh, you liked her too? Bleh. Oh, you hate that guy? Guess what? Guy's still alive. The worst. So some of my hit list was taken care of in this, but not all. Just on a personal level, there is one part in the book where this kid who, the heir to Isiltir, that had escaped with Tahir in Valor, that Jael wants to kill and stuff. And he talks about why he wants to follow Corbin. And he says this because Corbin makes him feel like himself. He doesn't have to pretend to be anybody else. And I said this in the discussion, the spoiler discussion that I had with Petrick and Philip and Abby and Alex. But in case you missed that, it's because having Asperger's, being on the spectrum, there is a constant pressure to pretend, because I do not act really normal, or how someone who is 39 should act, if you will. And so there's this constant pressure to be kind of, who someone needs me to be, or it's just the only time I can, and that guys, that's exhausting. It is exhausting trying to be someone you're not. Anyone who's ever pretended for any amount of time, whether you wanted to fit in with this person, or whether this person would only date this pretend version of you or whatever, we all know that that's freaking exhausting. And so I got moved by this, because heck yeah, I'd follow someone like that too. That's one of the reasons I love my wife so much, is because my wife, I can be who I am with my wife. Now if you're a douchebag, you probably should try to not be yourself. You know what I mean? You should absolutely find someone to let you be yourself, unless you're a douchebag, in which case you should fix yourself and stop it. Just stop it. But we all, everyone wants to be around people who don't, judge you for having, for being strange and having weird opinions, or, whatever, that I can just have Asperger's. And if there's certain things that get me worked up, that send me a full-blown autism fit, my friends and my wife, they understand, and they don't, get super mad at me and, make fun of me and stuff like that. And so that is something that I think we all look for. And so just like Highland, I'm like, yeah, me too. I'd follow Corbin also. That personal stuff aside, the last thing I want to say is that, I mean, it's blessed. Like, I really do like how Lycos is kind of sidelined in this book, because Lycos sucks. And I'm glad we don't have to see his grappling hook in this book. But, guys, this Ruin, I mean, it would be impossible. If you've read up to Ruin, if you made it this far, like, it's impossible for you to not like Ruin. Like, how could you like Malice and Valor enough to keep reading and then not like Ruin? I just don't even know how it's possible. All the feels. He blends the nonstop action of Valor with the kind of slower character moments of Malice. Much better here. It's just like a combination of what's best about the first two, and I just loved it. On the Kingfin approval system, I give this book a superb, and out of 5 stars, big shocker, I give it ka-chung, 5 stars. Guys, like, you don't need me to tell you to read Ruin if you've already read Malice and Valor, but if you have, you should go into Wrath, because I just finished Wrath. So good. So freaking good. You'll need to go read it. Guys, that is it for me today. As always, information about my Patreon and Discord is down in the description, and I'll see you next time, guys.